Welcome back to SSB Simplified, the one-stop destination for all your SSB interview preparation. Today, we are going to cover an important lecture topic that has frequently been asked in SSB interviews. The topic is Arab Spring and its revolutionary ripples. For better understanding, I've divided the topics into different subparts. Now the introduction. The Arab Spring was a series of uprising and protests that swept across the Middle East and North Africa in the early 2010s. It was a period of unprecedented political and social change, with millions of people taking in the streets to demand greater freedom and democracy. The Arab Spring had a profound impact on world history, not only because it led to overthrow of several long-standing dictators, but also because it marked a turning point in the way people think about power and politics. By using social media to organize and mobilize, ordinary citizens were able to challenge entrenched elites and demand a say on how their countries are run. Now, what is Arab Spring? Arab Spring refers to the revolutionary wave of protest and uprising that swept across the Middle East and North Africa in the early 2010s. It began in Tunisia in December 2010 when a street vendor named Mohammed Bouazizi set himself on fire in protest of police harassment and corruption. The Tunisian revolution that followed sparked similar protests in different countries, leading to the downfall of several authoritarian regimes. The causes of Arab Spring are complex and varied, but they can be traced back to factors such as political repression, economic equality, and social media. Many of the protesters were young people who were frustrated with the lack of opportunities and freedom in their countries. Social media played a very crucial role in organizing and mobilizing these protests, allowing activists to connect with each other and share information quickly and efficiently. Now, the role of social media. Social media played a very crucial role in Arab Spring's uprising, as it provided a platform for activists to organize and communicate with each other. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube were particularly important tools used by protesters to share information and coordinate their actions. In addition to facilitating communication among activists, social media also helped to spread awareness about the uprising to a global audience. Images and videos of protests and violence were shared widely on social media, bringing international attention to the events unfolding in the Middle East and Northern Africa. Now, Tunisia, the birthplace of Arab Spring. In December 2010, Tunisia was facing a wave of protests due to high unemployment rates, inflation, and corruption. These protests were sparked by a self-immolation of Mohammed Bouazizi, a street vendor who set himself on fire in front of government building after his cart was confiscated by the police. The act of desperation resonated with many Tunisians who were frustrated from their government's lack of response of their grievances. As the protest continued, the government responded with force, leading to a more violence and unrest. However, the protesters persisted and eventually President Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali fled the country on January 14, 2011. This marked a most successful overthrow of an Arab dictator in modern history and inspired similar uprisings across the region, leading to what known as Arab Spring. Now, Egypt, the Tahrir Square Uprising. The Tahrir Square Uprising in Egypt was a pivotal moment in the Arab Spring. In January 2011, thousands of Egyptians flooded the streets to demand an end to the President Hosni Mubarak's 30-year rule. The protests were largely organized through social media and brought together by people of different walks of life. The significance of Tahrir Square Uprising cannot be overstated. It showed that change was possible even in the country with a long history of authoritarianism. The bravery and determination of the protesters inspired similar movement throughout the region, leading to downfall of other dictators. Now, Libya, the fall of Gaddafi. The fall of Gaddafi in Libya was a pivotal moment in the Arab Spring. It was the result of a long and bloody civil war that lasted for months, with rebels fighting against Gaddafi forces. The revolution in Libya had a significant impact on the rest of the Arab world. It showed that even the most entrenched dictators could be overthrown by popular uprisings. The fall of Gaddafi, also known as geopolitical implications with the country, became more unstable and divided after his death. Now, Syria, The ongoing conflict. The Syrian conflict became a peaceful protest movement in 2011, inspired by success of similar uprising in Tunisia and Egypt. However, the government's violent crackdown of protesters quickly escalated the situation into a full-blown civil war that has now lasted for almost a decade. The conflict has resulted in hundreds and thousands of deaths and forced millions of Syrians to flee their homes, creating one of the worst humanitarian crises in modern history. The global community has struggled to find a solution of this conflict, with various factions and foreign powers involved in the fighting. In conclusion, the Arab Spring was a series of uprisings that shook the Middle East and North African region. It started in Tunisia in 2010 and spread to other countries like Egypt, Libya, and Syria. The uprisings were fueled by a desire of democracy, freedom, and social justice. Although the immediate impact of the Arab Spring was mixed, with some countries experiencing positive changes while others descended into chaos and conflict, its lasting impact cannot be ignored. The uprisings demonstrated the power people had to demand and change to topple authoritarian regimes. It also exposed the deep-seated problems of corruption, inequality, and political repression in the region. As we reflect on the Arab Spring, we must ask ourselves what lesson can we learn from it and how we can support the ongoing struggle for democracy and human rights in the Middle East and Northern Africa. Lastly, thank you for watching, and if you learned something new, like the videos and make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss relevant updates. Also, check out our other videos and feel free to comment down any suggestions on how we can improve our content.